Welcome back with Bruce Bruno. I'm Father Jorge.
And I'm Father Paul Calla, vocation director for the Oblates of the Virgin Mary. It's good to have you podcasters back with us, and kind of on this little train right now of interviewing some of our seminarians, kind of giving a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look here at Our Lady of Grace formation and letting these guys be a witness and give their testimony to how they became Oblates. So today we have Brother Christopher Puglia.
Welcome.
OMV. You do have the OMV behind that name yet, not a junior oblate. Here you are, and it's good to have Brother Chris back. If you've seen the episode with Brother Migo Roque, OMV, like Brother Migo, Brother Chris, not fresh off. It's been a couple of months now. He's been back in Boston at St. Clement's at OLGH, or OLGS, I guess, Our Lady of Grace Seminary. Chris is thinking about that because he's an engineer. Because he too was on a pastoral year on the exact opposite side of the country at St. Peter Chanel, our Oblate Parish in Hawaiian Gardens, California, just south of LA. One of the reasons why it's great to have Brother Chris back, many reasons, but one of them is because while he was gone for 1 year, all I heard when I was here every day was, "Where's Chris? When does Chris come back from Father Peter Grover?" Because Brother Chris, he can do anything, can fix anything. Yeah, so it's good to have you back. To see Father Peter just a little less stressful in the house. But why don't you tell us a little about yourself, especially like in where does that ability to like, cause you can like fix anything, you can do anything. Where'd that come from? Does that fit in with your story?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. It's great to be here. I think myself grew up. The oldest of two, grew up here in Massachusetts, about an hour west of Boston. And so growing up in a more rural area, we had a big yard. We did a lot of stuff outside. Both my parents are very hands-on. So every Saturday, it wasn't, okay, let's sit around and find something to do. It was, no, we're going out into the yard and we're fixing this and we're building this and we're doing this. So lots of hands-on things from an early age. And so that's kind of where that became part of my story. But really, it's something that I love doing for the way that I can serve the community. All of us bring certain gifts with us from our lives, from ourselves to the community. And to be able to share those is a great thing. Some of our guys are really into music. Some of our guys really great, teachers and really great at, cooking or medical backgrounds like yourself, film background. So,
okay, Jorge feels included.
No gift. No gift goes unused. That's for sure. So it's been a real joy to be able to share that.
Because you're saying even maybe when you're in high school at Christmas, the Christmas lights. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah. So growing up, was really fascinated with electronics and computers and stuff like that. I studied electrical engineering in college, kind of as a result of that. But a big thing that I wanted to do was somehow find this way to kind of get Christmas lights on our house, kind of hooked up with music and stuff like that. So was able to, rig up a bunch of electronics to make that happen. And next thing you know, there's lines of cars down our driveway, people wanting to check this out. The neighbors even at one point had to put up a sign to like lights that way. Because we live in the small area, not a lot of cars come by and a long driveway, but it was cool to be able to share that a little bit with some other people.
Yeah. What was life like for you growing up in the family? Like, go to church, not go to church? What kind of, obviously besides the engineer mindset, what was that? So like sports, non-sports, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So as I said, I grew up the oldest of two. So my brother and I, we went to mass every Sunday. That was something we did as a family, prayed before meals. Faith was always something that my parents took seriously and wanted to pass on to us. We both went to Catholic school all through high school. And so I'd say that the faith was a foundation. It was something that was always there for me in my life. But it wasn't really until I entered college that it really became my own, right? This was the first time that I was away from home, away from my parents, and was able to make a decision for myself of, do I really want this because I want it, or do I want it because it's what my parents have always done? And so it was really in that time that my faith really became my own and was able to really flourish and learn how to do things like pray and go to adoration and go to daily mass and all these awesome opportunities that were afforded being here in Boston.
Yeah. So do you want to say more like where did you go to college, and what's a moment when it was very concrete for you where okay, I grew up, went to Catholic high school, mass all the time. My parents gave me that foundation, but it has to be my own. Like, what's a concrete experience of that?
Yeah. So I think that for me, the concrete experience happened my freshman year on a retreat. So I had kind of known that, okay, there's this campus ministry at my college. I want to plug into that. I've been going to mass my whole life. I want to continue that. It wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to get out of my parents' house and just never go to church again. I know some of my confirmation students may have felt that way that I was teaching last year, but no, it was a great joy. And then so met this community, other like-minded young people who love Jesus and want to follow him. And so went on this retreat, was kind of unsure, didn't really know many people, but had this great, powerful experience of both meeting people and relating in a deep way, something I hadn't really done with my peers before. And then also encountering Jesus in Eucharistic adoration, which was also something that I had never experienced up to that point. Because we go to Mass on Sunday every week, you go to Catholic school, but just never had an opportunity or was never exposed to Eucharistic adoration. And so to really encounter the Lord in that way was incredibly powerful for me. And I think, really kind of changed the trajectory of my life.
And that was all just a few blocks from here, like at Northeastern, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I went to Northeastern University, about a mile from where we are here at St. Clement's. And so that, it's amazing how God works through all of these circumstances and what might seem like coincidences in my life.
So what was it like to kind of step in here at St. Clement's Shrine the very first time? First of all, how did you find out about
back
us?
up a step. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as I had mentioned, became involved with campus ministry, became involved with people over at my college, and other young people there, also on fire for the faith. One thing we would do sometimes is go to mass together, and so both going to St. Francis Chapel over at the Prudential, which we staff, as well as St. Clement's here. And so there was one morning when some of my friends were like, hey, we want to go to 7 a.m. mass before class or before work or whatever we had going on. And I was like, oh man, 7 a.m. That's pretty early. But there was this girl that I liked who was
of course.
kind of driving the ship, and I was like, all right, I'll get up. So it was I don't know, I think there was maybe like 5 or 6 of us. We came over here for mass, and then afterwards we'd hang out on the front steps and just kind of talk, because it's like, well, we made it up for 7 a.m. mass. We might as well like hang out a little bit. Sometimes we get breakfast after. And I remember that Father Paul Nguyen, who was a seminarian here at the time, he would come out. I don't know if he was going somewhere or what he was doing, but he would come out and just sort of talk to us a little bit on the steps there of the shrine. Awesome. And that kind of had an impact on me of like, ooh, okay, there's these seminarians who I see up there at mass, like they're real people. And it just became a little bit more concrete for me.
Mm.
What year was this?
This would have been maybe 2015, 2014, somewhere
ago.
in there. Yeah.
Awesome. So, and then at what point, so daily mass, or at least going to mass, the Eucharist is becoming more prevalent in life. The girl is the front runner of all of this, which is common for a lot of young men. At what point do you remember, like, when does the priesthood, and then the question off that, the Oblates of the Virgin Mary, like, how does that come into the narrative?
Yeah. So there was, I'd say like one very distinct moment in prayer for me where the Lord made it clear that, hey, what about priesthood? What about this life? And it was something that had kind of been in the back of my mind for some time. This was around the middle of my college years, and when I kind of heard that and felt that, I was like, Lord, I don't think I want this. I have everything kind of my way. I have my career. I have, the girlfriend. I have everything lined up. And I now have this awesome relationship with you that I'd kind of grown in over those first years of my college life. And so I just wanted to kind of have everything that way and have everything under my control. So at first I was kind of run away from that. I said, okay, maybe this isn't really God's voice, and tried to trick myself to think that it must be something else. But fortunately, I had a spiritual director that I was meeting with at the time, and he was able to kind of help me to see where God was actually speaking in my life, and that he didn't want me to be miserable, but was inviting me to investigate and check out and learn about a deeper love. And so part of that process of seeing, okay, what might God be calling me to is, what are different communities, what are different groups that I know and that are local, because God's probably not going to call me to join some group in, Australia where I've never heard of and never been to. So what do I know? And I knew the diocese here because that's where I grew up. And I also knew the Oblates and a couple other religious communities. And so as I came to kind of see them, know them, the Oblates really stood out as being a group that I felt at home with, and that Ignatian spirituality that we live was something that I had actually picked up in high school kind of unknowingly from a teacher who had spent some time in formation with the Jesuits, and he had taught us that sort of imaginative prayer.
Yeah.
So did you start attending Mass here at St. Clement, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I did. I'd come to Mass here at St. Clement's. I'd also go sometimes over to the chapel before work, because the 8 a.m. Mass over there is a little bit easier than the 7 a.m. Mass here. And I didn't have to go to work till 9, so it was like a nice pre-work little workout there. But I was coming to Mass here, got to know the seminarians, yourself included. You were here at the time, and it was really cool because I felt like I had almost like a home here, because guys would invite me down for lunch after Mass on Sundays, and it just felt very, very natural. It didn't feel like, okay, I need to put on this show or put on airs to fit in with these guys. Like, they're guys that I can joke around with, I can be real with, and it just felt very, very free. And I think that God used that to, make that whole discernment process a whole lot easier for me.
At what point, like similar experience, many years before, probably 10 years before you were here, visiting that home aspect, and that's huge for a lot of guys, not just in our order, but other religious life. It's that community aspect. At what point then was it like doesn't just feel like a home, like this is where God is inviting and asking me to make my home?
Yeah. So as I continued to pray with, okay, Lord, where do you want me? What is your plan for me? There really became two kind of clear elements there. It was the Oblates and then the diocese. And so really praying about those two, the community of the Oblates is really what drew me in, of just seeing the beauty and the depth and the realness of that. But with that realness, there's also a cross, right? You ask some of the guys, they say, what's your favorite thing about religious life? Is the community, and what's the most difficult thing? Is the community, right? And so I had, after I had entered and made that decision and begun living the life, that's kind of when it became, okay, there's the kind of ideal, religious life community, it's so beautiful, it's amazing, but then the reality of, okay, now I need to live obedience, and what does that look like? For me, who had lived, my life to that point of, okay, I had a job, I had money, I could do what I want, I could go here, go there, and especially living in a city where I still had a lot of friends who were, hey, can you want to come out with us on the weekend? And it's like, sorry, I can't, because I'm a
seminary
living this life. But it was beautiful, because that's when I really made it my own, and it wasn't just something that God had chosen for me, although he did, or something that somebody else had kind of imposed on me, but it's something that I really made my own, and chose this as my home. And I think that a lot of that stuff you had mentioned at the beginning of working with my hands and fixing it, like, flows from that, of like, because this is my home, I have there's a sense of ownership that comes with that. I don't just let things go to waste, and I try to make it better.
You've said that a couple times now, making it your own. About your faith in college, you had to make it your own. When it came to being in the life, especially, like, wow, like, I can't just, I'm not a college student in Boston, in Northeastern. I'm a postulant, novice, now brother. Like, where's the invitation at been lately? Is now your brother. You've been in vows for a couple years now to, like, make this your own.
Yeah, I think the idea of, right, okay, I know how to be a seminarian, if you will, because it's my 7th year as a seminarian, but it's also, I'm taking on a new role in this year, right? We have some new guys that I'm kind of helping them out. They look up to me in some ways, maybe at least height wise. And
I don't know. They're all pretty
not
tall,
all of them.
man. Just
Not
Brother
all of them.
Migo, I think.
But no, it is cool to be able to make that my own, right? Make leading in a certain way my own, and allow the things that I've received from so many different people and so many different experiences to be shared with them. And so that's really, I think, what I've been able to make my own in terms of this year and in terms of this stage of my formation.
Awesome.
That's awesome. You know, kind of looking back on it, you joined with 2019, right?
Yep.
So you joined with Brother Migo. So what was that like, having someone kind of join with you? Because, you know, community, it's a big part of our life. So what was that like?
Yeah, that was an incredible blessing. I am so grateful to have Brother Migo and to be able to share this life with him. I was telling the guys that it's so great to be able to have a person to, you know, just share the experiences of religious life with, because especially at the beginning, it can be like daunting. There's so much new. There's so many things that we do, and to kind of be going through it and saying, did I do this right? Am I crazy? Like, what's going on here? And to have someone who's sharing that experience with you is very, very fruitful. And it was awesome. Then last year on our pastoral year, right, we were separated. You know, we'd been together in formation for the last 5 years. Then we take a year apart. But then coming back together now, it's been a powerful kind of realization of both our independence and sort of autonomy, but then also how we can minister together in a really powerful way. And, you know, because we know each other so deeply that we can kind of, I don't know, riff off each other really, really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, you mentioned your pastoral year there. Can you tell us more about that? Like, where were you? What were you doing out there?
Yeah. So I was in the blessed land of Los Angeles, California, the
Jorge
home
Sanchez.
of Father Jorge
My
Sanchez.
homeland.
Yes. And was there at our parish at St. Peter Chanel, which is a beautiful parish just south of Los Angeles near Long Beach. And I was there helping out with whatever they needed for the year. So that my duties included helping with the youth group, the young adult group, different young adult groups that they have there, and being in charge of the religious ed. So teaching confirmation classes and things like that. So great experience. It's amazing how much we can do as brothers. I think that was something going into it. You think, okay, I'm just a religious brother. I'm not ordained. I can't do the sacraments. Like, what are they going to have me do in the parish? You know, am I just going to be like fixing Wi-Fi and doing things around the house?
What did you
changing
do,
light
like at
bulbs or whatever?
the light bulb or something on the church tower? You had to get the lift.
Yeah,
What?
we did do one. I did do one thing when I got there. Father Lino, the pastor, he was like, "Brother, they have this large aluminum cross on the facade of the church. It's probably like, I don't know, 30 feet tall, 20 feet wide, and it used to have neon lights around it.
I remember
But the neon
this.
lights had
Yes.
broken a long time ago, and somebody had went up there and put kind of like cheap, like not that great lights that obviously when it got roasted in the sun all day every day as it does, they failed. And so he was like, can you look into getting some sort of like better lighting things? He knew my background as an engineer, and I worked at a lighting company for a time. And so I did some research, found a company in Las Vegas that specializes in like LED neon replacements.
Wow.
And we were able to get the lights in. And then they were like, yeah, it's going to cost us. Our maintenance guy was like, we could have somebody do this, but it would cost them $10,000 to come and install the lights. Or we could just go up there, and like my buddy has like a lift, and like we can do it. So the maintenance guy and me were able to put those up.
So just another day in LA. That's what I'm hearing. You know,
But you never know. That's kind of the cool thing about, one thing I really loved about the parish is that you never know what your day is going to be like.
It's different every day.
You know, let me. You're kind of saying there, you know, being there as a brother, not as a priest, you can't perform the sacraments. But I guess, what did the people there teach you about being a religious brother?
Yeah. Well, they really taught me how spiritual fatherhood is something that, you know, we're all called to, and that's something that I can exercise even now as a brother. And just seeing their deep faith and deep desire to share that, and to just be led and guided, and a lot of times I'd find myself in some situation where I have no idea what I'm doing here. This is the first time I'm doing this, and this has been entrusted to me. I have some sort of clue what to do, but I'm by no means an expert. But yet people are still trusting me and looking to me, and that's both very humbling and very encouraging. That trusting the formation and what I've received to be able to help them.
Was that your first time living with an Oblate community outside of Boston?
I had lived for a summer in Denver.
Oh, that's right.
At the community there.
I forgot about that.
But for the extended period of time, it definitely was. And also first time in a community where there are a number of elderly Oblates besides Boston here. So that was also a really cool experience to be able to both serve them and see all the experience that they have and kind of get some of their words of wisdom.
Yeah, just in listening to you, you just did servant leadership. We've done servant leadership, the course that we have to take as seminarians, as Oblate seminarians. It's that principle of like you don't have to have the title leader to be a leader. So definitely, like as you were saying earlier, like that you're back and you before you even left, but now you're back. It's like wow, like I'm the senior seminarian. Like Brother Migo's there with you, and he's a leader, but in very different ways. And realizing that in the parish as well, it's like okay, I'm not the priest, so I can't celebrate the mass, I can hear the confessions, but there is a lot I can do, and more importantly, it's like that doesn't mean I'm not a leader and I'm not going to learn about that fatherhood that comes with the title of priest. Like you don't just learn it on the day you get ordained. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was the cool thing is, talking to guys who are newly ordained, sometimes they say like, oh, seminary is so long. Like you must have learned everything. And a lot of times guys are like, I feel like I've barely learned the first thing I need to know. And cause there's so much just on the job learning. And I certainly experienced that in the parish and I'm sure you guys have as well. And it just gives me courage to know that like, I don't need to know everything to begin. I can start. I have the tools that it takes to begin, and I'm going to continue to learn, God willing, through these, decades of ministry.
Yeah. I was going to ask, as you look back on formation for you thus far, what's the one word that comes to mind?
The one word for me is joy. I know that in my first year of seminary, a lot of people, that summer after we have a little bit of time off, and people say, "Oh, what's seminary like? How's it like? How are you enjoying it?" And if you had asked me the summer before, I probably would have said, okay, I'll say like it's going to be really prayerful, or it's going to be really, intense, or the studies are going to be really, like, man, I'm learning all this philosophy. This is like really amazing stuff. But just you interviewed Brother Migo. You see, he's and all our other guys, right? Like there's a deep, deep joy that comes with this life. We're not just sitting there like, rigid stormtroopers or something preparing to go out and fight this spiritual battle. It's like, these are real guys who are like really living holiness, but are also joyful. And that becomes super evident in everything that we do. In our rec time, in our ministry, in our, meals. And so just to be able to receive that joy, because I think, just my own temperament, I can be a little bit more on the serious side. And that's why I think Brother Migo and I work so well. We kind of complement each other in that. But we're able to just, I'm able to receive so much joy and then hopefully give back a little bit of joy as well.
Speaking of joy, this is more an unserious question, but while you were in California, my homeland, it seems like you discovered authentic Mexican food.
I did.
Tell me about that.
I did. Yeah. So I
He
just want to hear the joy. I want to rejoice with you.
Yeah. There's gonna be some joy here, and sorrow because it's been lost. Joy lost. But there were some parishioners who one day they said, "Oh, brother, we need to take you to the best Mexican place." And I don't know if you've been anywhere, everybody was, "Oh, this is the best. This is the best." And so I was kind of, okay, yeah, whatever. But there was this taco truck that was somewhere on the side of the road, and we pull up there, and I see the line. This is a Saturday night or something. There must be 50 people in line there. So, okay, well, this can't be terrible if there's 50 people here. We wait in line. We get the food. I'm eating it on the side of the road there on the sidewalk, and I say, man, this must be the best carne asada I've ever had. It's amazing. There's a reason why this line is here, and yeah, went back there many times. My family came to visit. I brought them there. Friends came to visit, brought them there. So it's
we went there one night.
Yeah, I brought Father Paul there. So I don't know. It looks kind of sketch when you're pulling up to this like dimly lit side of the road place, but the food speaks for itself.
There's no bike lane, so they're like 2 feet, not even that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sketchy.
Gotta be careful, but it is really, really good food, and I wish that I could find something like that here in Boston.
So
Awesome.
We're still waiting.
What's next for you as we wrap up here? I mean, could go and go, just like with Brother Migo, but yeah, like what's next for you, bro?
Yeah, so living the life is this year taking classes. So as I mentioned, 7th year of formation, third theology. So full semester, fall, spring, and then next year we'll do just a half year of classes. So in the fall, and God willing, sometime probably in this next year, final vows. And
how many years you guys been in Simple Vows?
We've been 3 and
so you're in your 4th year.
Yeah.
Okay, some change.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't know. I'm still praying about kind of where and when and how that's going to all happen. But yeah, probably sometime next year. Because then, wrap up classes next December. And then, on from there.
Then it's definitely
onward and upward.
Then the one, then bookends because of Father Peter. It's like, where's Chris?
Right. It'll be a sorrowful day for Father Peter when you.
Oh, it's okay. He's got good.
He's got Zach.
Yeah, he can get other the next generation of seminarians.
It's time for Zach to start stepping up, I think. So awesome. Any last thoughts, last words, Brother Christopher?
I don't know. Just to say, I don't know, people who are watching or listening or whatever, maybe know us from our ministry, know us from some element of what we do. Just thank you for the ways in which they've been open to God working in their lives and allowing us to minister to them. I think it's always really humbling when people come to us because there's so many places that people can go for spiritual direction or sacraments or whatever. But there's something special about the Oblate charism that attracted me, and I think attracts them as well. So.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Could always go longer. So another time.
Fabulous.
And as always, thank you guys, you podcasters, for watching. Please continue to pray for Brother Chris, who still needs many prayers, as do all of us, for his formation, for his call to the priesthood now, and final vows. Continue to pray for all of our seminarians. Know of our prayers to you, and we look forward, hopefully, we won't see you, but to you seeing us again. So thank you guys. God bless.
Thank you.